This is page 3 and 4 of the Chapter 6 test review for geometry. So we're on the top of page 3, number 10, and this is a parallelogram, as it said on the previous page. And so one of the properties of a parallelogram is that opposite sides are congruent. They're not only parallel, but they're also congruent. So we just put an equal sign between them and then do inverse operations until we get x by itself. So you add 3 to both sides, divide both sides by 2, and you should get x equals 5. Number 11, same thing. Find QR. So on this one, you're just going to have to plug it back in. You've got opposite sides parallel, but they're also congruent. So you're going to put an equal sign in between them. Subtract x to get the variable on one side, and you end up with 0. So when you plug 0 back into QR, you actually get 21. Number 12. Number 12, you go inside the parallelogram and you have angles that come one right after another. That's consecutive. And so consecutive angles are supplementary. That means you should add the two angles and set them equal to 180. Then you combine your like terms and do inverse operations until you get the variable by itself. So you would subtract 5 from both sides, divide both sides by 35, and you get x equals 5. If you look over here, there's no 5 as an answer. That should indicate to you, oh, I'm going to have to plug it back in. So you want to make sure on this one that you plug it in the correct one. So J, you want to plug it in there. You're going to have 6 times 5 plus 5. I got 35. All right. Numbers 13 and 14. So they're going to give you some information. They want you to solve for x, and they're definitely parallelograms. So if it tells you that zy is 11, you should come over here and find zy. Zy is 11, so you write 11 right on it. And then wy, the whole thing, is 3x minus 8. That means this, and this piece is congruent because it's bisected by the other diagonal. They should be both of them. So you can add 11 plus 11, or I did 2 times 11, set it equal to the whole thing, which is 3x minus 8. 2 times 11, I got 22. Add 8 to both sides, divide both sides by 3, I got x equals 10. Same thing happens over here. If you make sure you label it correctly, it's kind of going to be obvious what you need to do. All right? If ln, the whole thing, is 38, and zn, half of it is 2x minus 3. We need 2 of the 2x minus 3s. Set it equal to the whole thing. Make sure you distribute on the left. Add 6 to both sides. Divide both sides by 4. You get x equals 11, so the answer is B. Number 15 is a midsegment. So on a midsegment, 2 times the midsegment is going to be equal to those two added together, or half of the two bases. Okay, so you add the two bases together and then divide by 2. I got 16. All right, turn the page. This one's a little bit trickier because on this one they give you the midsegment and one of the sides is missing. They had a question mark, but I prefer x. So I said 1/2 of x plus 20 equals the midsegment of 15. Okay? To get rid of the 1/2, I multiply both sides by 2, and then I have 30 equals x plus 20. Subtract 20 from both sides, you get 10. So the answer is B. 17. Same thing. The midsegment, which is 33, is going to be equal to half of the top base plus the bottom base. And you've got a little bit of algebra in this one. So combine your like terms and then multiply both sides by 2. Subtract the 10 from both sides and then divide both sides by 7. I solved and got x equals 8. All right. On this trapezoid, we've got consecutive angles, not base angles, because D and E would be base angles, but consecutive angles. So those are going to be supplementary. So this plus this equals 180. Combine your like terms, subtract the 145, divide by 7. You should get x equals 5. Then on 19, these are base angles, and it's an isosceles triangle, so those two angles should be congruent. All you have to do is put an equal sign between them and solve for x. So you subtract 18 from both sides, divide by 5, and you've got x equals 10. Number 20, we've got an isosceles triangle, and we've got consecutive, not base angles, so they should be supplementary. So add the two together, set them equal to 180. Let's see, we subtract 84 from both sides and then divide by 16, so x is 6. And then the last one, number 21, make sure you label properly. DB, the whole thing, is 15, and CA is x plus 3, so the other diagonal. So on a isosceles trapezoid, those two diagonals are congruent to each other. So all you have to do is put an equal sign, subtract 3 from both sides. I got x equals 12. So the answer is A.